Hey everybody, welcome back to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. I am Dewey Yoder. I am team administrator of the Cambodia team here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And we have another video for you guys today, just kind of as a way to share more details into the project that we're in right now. The reason for this video is because about maybe three or 4 weeks ago we did a Zoom call. And there were maybe 10 people that were in the Zoom call, and it was a really good time that we could share a lot of details of what the project's like, what we're facing and stuff like that. And there were one or two questions asked in that Zoom call that we would like to give an answer not only to them, but also to the rest of you all as well. So we're going to be going through a slideshow, the same slideshow that we did with those that joined the Zoom call. We're going to be going through that today to share that with you, to better inform you of what actually the project is like, who's going to be owning the property, what kind of title the property has, and some of those types of details. So yeah, we look forward to having you guys join this. And if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to contact us with the email listed below, or just put it in the comment box below as well. So we're going to start out by sharing a little bit of history of our team and how we got to where we're at today. Our team first arrived here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia in the summer of 2014. And we initially spent some time, about a year to year and a half of living in the city here, getting to know the city, doing a lot of language study so that we can communicate with people. So that's what we initially did here. Just a lot of hard language study and building friendships, building relationships with our neighbors. Whenever we finished up formal language study, we started talking as a team. Okay, what do we want to do in the future? With us being under D&I, we wanted to focus on church planning. But what did that actually look like for us as a team? So we spent a lot of time praying together, fasting together, just asking God to direct the next steps. And we believe during that time God called us to a specific community in Phnom Penh. We were actually thinking about moving out of Phnom Penh, but we talked to different organizations, prayed about it, did some research in this area, and did some prayer walking in this area, and felt a specific call to this area. And then we also decided then that we would move into that area and work on becoming a registered local NGO and opening up a center where we can teach English as a way to begin building relationships in the community and start building that trust with the members of that community. And then I think it was about 5 years, in our 5th year of being here. So we moved out to the area, we started teaching English, started building relationships. But then after a couple years of doing that, we started talking about as a team, okay, what can we do to take those relationships that we have and to start sharing the gospel with them and kind of more focusing directly on planning the church. And through a chain of events that only God could organize, God led us to some people who would be very instrumental in beginning that church plant, both Khmer people, but then us also with us as foreigners, working together to start that church plant. So at the end of 2020, we met with 2 great Khmer Christian men. These men have been a tremendous asset to our team. One of them is in charge of leading the SALT, our savings group program, and the other one is in charge of leading the church plant. And these guys have been a tremendous asset to our team, and we are thankful for them. And then recently, within the last 6 months or so, 6-8 months, we started talking about as a team, okay, how do we know when a church has been planted? How do we know, at what point can we say, okay, the church has been planted, and it's time for us as foreigners to move on? Because we believe that for a church to function properly, it needs to be run by indigenous people, by local people. So we've been talking about, okay, what at what point do we feel the church has been planted, that we can move on to a different area that God is calling us to, or move back to the States or wherever. So we started talking about that, and through that we came up with some different criteria, some different things that need to happen, or different criteria that has to be met for us to be able to say, okay, the church has been planted, and we can move forward. And one of those things is a permanent building or permanent facility that our organization here can use. So you might ask, why a building? And the vision for the Redeeming Reign organization is for it to be completely ran by Kamai people, and for it to have a stable mother church, a stable church here that can teach and can train and disciple anyone that comes through our organization here. We also want to provide a center for teaching, training, discipleship, a place where people can be discipled, trained, and then also reach throughout the country, not just stay in Phnom Penh, but to go all over the country. And this is a map of Cambodia, and it does a good job at painting a picture of kind of the vision that we have for our organization as far as reaching out into the country and planting churches. So if we can have a stable mother church here in Phnom Penh that is actively discipling, teaching, and training people that come into Phnom Penh, or the people that are in Phnom Penh, we hope and pray that they can then go out into their home villages, into their home provinces, and share the gospel out there, and then partner with the mother church to go out and to plant churches into the surrounding villages and provinces all over Cambodia. And then from there, we would like to see that those churches then in turn reach out to areas around them, planting more churches. And we envision and we hope that this would be a multiplying effect, and soon all over Cambodia there would be new churches springing up. So we feel that a stable mother church is vital to all of that happening. And one of the things that we've encountered along the way with talking with other missionaries living here is whenever you rent a facility or rent a building, that puts us under the control of the landlord. And we've heard stories of the landlords suddenly stopping renting the building, or stop leasing the building, and therefore whoever's leasing that, these different churches these different people that we know, missionaries that we know, have to stop and find a different location. Every time that happens, you end up losing members, and you have to start over again, start building trust, building relationships in that new community. Also, property in Phnom Penh is expensive. Although prices have stabilized over the last year or so because of COVID, we feel like right now is a really good time to make this purchase before the prices start rising again once COVID goes away. Also, a little bit about the community that we live in here, that we do ministry in here. There's a lot of factory workers, a lot of vegetable sellers, a lot of entertainment workers, people that work at KTV bars. And the minimum wage, I think, I've heard, is around anywhere between $200 to $300 a month for a worker. And whenever your minimum wage is that low, your living conditions are going to be pretty minimal. So many of the people that we work with, many of the people that we have relationships with, live in single one-room apartments or houses. A bedroom where they have to cook in, a little bathroom off to the side. It's like a 12 by 12 or 14 by 14 room, and that's all that they can afford to live in. Average income probably is, I would say, between $200 to $300. And you might ask, well, why not do house churches? And it would be possible, but long term, it would be a hindrance, I think, to the ministry here because of how quickly people can pick up things and move to a different location. So, for example, if one family would be having a small church in their house, that that landlord, if that person is renting that property, the landlord could stop the rent and say, you need to move out. Well, then what do you do with the church? Or even if you rent a small room, or if the family lives in a small one-room apartment, it's just simply not feasible for 5 to 10 people to meet in a small room like that for church. You might ask, why not rent a building instead of buying one? Well, we've done that in the past, and we've done some math, and it's very expensive. The last building we were paying $450 a month, and over the last 4 to 5 years, we spent around $27,000 for rent on that, and it's not throwing money away because we use that to build relationships in the community, but then also, in one sense, it is kind of throwing money away because we have nothing to show for it as far as a physical property or anything. So that's another reason why we would like to actually purchase a building, is so that we can save money in the future and have that stable location. The building that we rented in the past, the landlord for that building, he was ready to move on. He was ready to sell it. He's actually moving out of the country, moving to a different country to do some schooling and stuff. So he was ready to sell the building, and the building that we were using was somewhat limited in space, so we were not really satisfied with purchasing that building. We were looking around for something that would better suit our needs. And also, landlords here they're notorious for raising rates. They like to sign at least 1-year contracts, but then usually after that, they start raising rates pretty quickly. So another reason for buying a piece of property, that we are in control of the costs and stuff. A little bit about the cost of purchasing property here. We've spent a lot of time over the last 6-8 months looking around, and from what we've seen in this area, there's around, for an empty lot of around 5 meters by 20 meters or 15 meters, is around $60,000 and up. Plus you have then the cost for construction. And then to buy a building in the area is at minimum $250,000. A lot of the places we looked at were more than that, upwards of $300,000 to $350,000. This is a screenshot of Phnom Penh. It gives you a little bit of an idea of the layout of the roads here. That location right there is kind of where our ministry is located at in Phnom Penh. Here's a more close-up view of our little area that we feel God has called us to. This red box here represents kind of the area that we really focus on, building relationships and stuff. My house is over there on the right-hand side of the square, and then Elvin's live there where the blue dot is. And then the previous location for the Redeeming Rain organization was right there on the corner. Here's another view of that. The previous location was there. Whenever Elvin and Ruth decided they were going to move to Cambodia and live here, they asked if we could find a piece of property or a house for them to rent back at the end of that little dead-end road. So I'd spent some time over there looking around, and we ended up finding a place right there where the blue dot is. And and the reason for sharing this slide is that we believe that God has called us to this location, and we believe that God is continuing to call us to this location. And it's actually really neat to see how God has worked this out. The location that we are actually planning on purchasing is located here. And it just kind of reaffirms in our life, or in our calling here, that God is wanting us to stay in this community. Because at one point we had actually talked about possibly moving out of the city because of land being cheaper out there, buildings being cheaper out there, some of those types of things. Here's a picture of the property that we are in the process of purchasing. So over here on the left-hand side, we have an empty lot over in here that comes with the property. And then we've got a couple buildings here that come with the property as well. This red square is the location of where we would be meeting for church, anything where large groups of people can meet together. This would be the location that we're using for that. This is another angle of the building. The building currently, the ground, I'll go back. The ground floor there where the red square is actually a family that lives there. And then on the left-hand side over here, we've got, on the bottom, we've got four rooms down there that they're renting out. And then on the top here, we got 4 rooms that they're renting out. And then on the top on this side over here, they've got 4 more rooms that they rent out. So currently the property is being used as a residence, but then also as 12 rooms that they rent out to factory workers and stuff. This is another angle of it. There's steps along the back that go up to the top level up there where there's 4 rooms that they rent out. And then here's a view of the other side with the empty lot there where that pile of sand is, and then the 8 rooms that they rent out. Our hope and goal for the future is that after we purchase the property, we would like to add on the top there where the white box is. We would like to add 1 level up there, and then add a roof onto the top of that, an open roof where people could go up there. We could maybe put a ping pong table up there or something like that for people to spend some time studying up there or playing up there. This is a drawing, 3D drawing of what we would like the final project to look like. It might change, the front entrance there might change a little bit as time goes on, but that's kind of what we would like the final project to look like. Currently, everything below that red line is what's currently there, and then everything above the red line is what we would like to add in the future. So one of the questions that we got in our last Zoom call was this property that we're buying, does that have a hard title, or are we just buying rights to the land? And the property here that we're buying does have a hard title, and we will have full control of the land and all rights to it. So there will be no limitations on what we can use the land for, or anything like that. So the purchase of the house and the empty lot will cost us $250,000 US. We would like to add a second floor on the left side and then a roof on that, and we estimate that will cost around $30,000. So anything below the red line, what we currently have is $250,000, and then $30,000 then to add the roof part on in the second story. So the total would be for the property and the house, current house, $250,000, plus the additions would be $30,000, so a total of $280,000. So you might ask, who owns this building? This building will be owned by Redeeming Rain organization. Because we are a registered local NGO, we have right to buy property here in Cambodia, and Redeeming Rain organization is comprised of both Khmer and foreigners. So we have a board that has 7 members on it, and those members then have complete control over all assets of the Redeeming Rain organization. And we have it set up. We hired an international lawyer to come in and to do all the paperwork, set it up in such a way that no one person has full control over the property or any other asset for that matter for our organization. So it has to be complete approval from the board and any decision that gets made. So the future of our organization, when you might ask, when would it be turned over to Khmer leadership, full Khmer leadership? And we came up with 6 different things that we believe need to be in place before we give full control over to Kamai leadership. And here are these 6 things. We would like to see at least 50 born-again believers that are growing in their obedience to the Word of God. We need to have a national or a local Kamai ordained leader with an assistant. We need to have a vibrant discipleship program going, and that would include a beginner's class, that basically just a class that would introduce the very basics of Christianity. We also would like to have a discipleship class, an evangelism class, a missions class. All of those things we feel are important for a church to be stable and growing. Also, the church needs to have a constitution, and then also the church needs to have a permanent building to be able to meet in and to worship in. This building, this property that we're purchasing, would not be owned by the church. It'd be owned by the Redeeming Reign organization, and then the church would have access to use it for a place to worship and teaching and training and stuff. And then also, the final thing, we believe that it would be important for the church here to be reaching out into the local areas, focusing on trying to plant another church in some other area, either of the city or out in a village somewhere. We believe that the church needs to be reproducing. So you might ask, well, how is Redeeming Reign organization, how is it sustainable now, or how will it be sustainable in the future? And to be honest with you, right now, Redeeming Reign organization is not sustainable. And all of the money that we've received in the past comes from donors like you, comes through DNI, which all of DNI's funds comes through donors. So all of our money has been coming from outside of Cambodia coming in, and we realize that is not sustainable. It's not if the Redeeming Reign organization is to stand on its own under full Kamai leadership and control, and not have any foreign funding coming in, we're going to have to figure out a way for it to be sustainable. The first thing that we feel that is a vital key for Redeeming Reign organization to be sustainable is that the local church here has to be growing, and it has to be reproducing. Because as the church grows, more people come. Those people will then hopefully tithe to help support the organization, to help support the church and the leaders of the church and the different programs that the church has. We also would hope to receive a little bit of money through the different seminars and training sessions that we do. One of our guys, the pastor, loves teaching and training, and he's done that in the past. He has a history of doing that, and he has a vision for the future of teaching and training and doing different seminars around the country, but then also here at our home location. So some money would come through that. Also, we have a dorm, and we do charge those students a small fee for staying here, so that would help support the Redeeming Reign organization as well. We could also charge a little bit for teaching English to the students, and that will bring some income in as well. We don't really know exactly how Redeeming Reign will be fully self-sustaining in the future, but we feel like it is extremely important, and we feel like God will continue to open doors so that Redeeming Reign organization can be self-sustaining. There's 2 things that need to be in place before all assets in the building would be turned over to full Kamai leadership. And those 2 are the mother church be established and that Redeeming Reign organization be self-sustaining. And that is all that we have for today for this video. I hope that this video will give you guys more information, more details on what we're doing here, the vision, the idea that we have moving forward with the organization. And if you guys would like to join us in prayer for this project, but then also to help with financial support, donating to this, please see the links below in the video description box. Click on those links to go to donate, and or to make sure you subscribe to the channel here so you can stay informed on that, on all the different things that we do here, and the progress of this project. We pray that God would bless you guys for your interest. We thank you for it, and we hope to see you sometime in the near future with another update.